I died 3 days ago. At least, that's what the world thinks. I stood at the back of my own funeral, wearing a black coat and dark sunglasses, watching my wife cry into a silk handkerchief. Her shoulders trembled. Her voice cracked when she spoke my name. She called me her soulmate. Her forever. And I almost believed her. Almost. Because 2 weeks ago, I came home early from a business trip. I was going to surprise her, maybe take her to that restaurant she loved, the one with candles that smelled like lavender and lies. But when I opened the bedroom door, I didn't find her packing. I didn't find her reading or painting her nails. I found her standing in front of the mirror. Rehearsing. She was practicing how to cry. How to tilt her head. How to let a single tear roll down her cheek at just the right moment. She whispered my name like it hurt. Like she'd lost the love of her life. Then she smiled. Not a sad smile. Not a broken one. A satisfied smile. That's when I knew, my death wasn't a tragedy to her. It was a performance. And I was about to become the greatest audience she never expected. I met Natalie on a rainy Thursday in October. The kind of rain that doesn't ask permission. It just falls, heavy, relentless, like the sky finally gave up holding everything in. I had ducked under the awning of a small bookstore on Maple Street, the kind with crooked shelves and a bell that chimed when you opened the door. I wasn't looking for anything. I was just trying to stay dry. That's when I saw her. She was standing at the edge of the awning, soaked through. Her white blouse clung to her shoulders. Her hair, dark, wild, tangled, stuck to her cheeks. Mascara had run down her face in soft black streaks, and she was laughing. Not a polite laugh. A real one. The kind that made you want to know what the joke was. She caught me staring. "Do you believe in signs?" she asked. Her voice was warm. A little breathless. Like she'd been running and just now stopped to catch her breath. I blinked. Signs? She gestured at the rain, at herself, at me. This. All of it. Feels like the universe is trying to tell me something. I didn't believe in signs. I believed in logic. Patterns. Data. Things you could measure and predict. But standing there, looking at her, I wanted to. God, I wanted to. Maybe, I said. She smiled. And I swear, the rain didn't matter anymore. We ended up inside the bookstore. She smelled like rain and something floral, lilac, maybe. Jasmine. I didn't know. I just knew I wanted to stay close enough to figure it out. She wandered through the aisles slowly, trailing her fingers along the spines of old books. Poetry. History. Art. She moved like someone who wasn't in a hurry. Like time bent around her instead of the other way around. "I grew up in Cape Cod," she said, pulling a book off the shelf. "My mom used to take me to this tiny bookstore by the water. It smelled like salt and old paper." "Sounds perfect," I said. It was. She looked at me then, really looked at me, and I felt something shift. I want to open a gallery someday. For local artists. People who don't have a platform yet. That's beautiful." She shrugged, but her smile softened. "Everyone says it's a pipe dream. That I should be more realistic. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe you're just being nice. Maybe I mean it." She tilted her head, studying me like I was a puzzle she wanted to solve. "What's your name?" "Daniel." "I'm Natalie." She said it like it was a secret. Like she was giving me something precious. And maybe she was. We talked for 3 hours. She told me about her love for Pablo Neruda, how his poems made her feel less alone. She told me about her father, who died when she was 12, and how she still kept his old watch in a drawer because she couldn't bring herself to wear it. I told her about my startup. About the late nights and the risk and the dream of building something that mattered. She listened like every word I said was worth remembering. When the rain finally stopped, I didn't want to leave. But I knew I had to. So I did something I'd never done before. I walked to the counter, bought a copy of 20 love poems and a song of despair by Pablo Neruda, and handed it to her. "For the gallery," I said. "When you open it." Her eyes went wide. Soft. Shining. She kissed me on the cheek. It was brief. Gentle. But it burned. "I think you just changed my life," she whispered. I thought she was joking. I laughed it off. But she wasn't joking. She never joked about things like that. 6 months later, I proposed. We were back at that same bookstore. I'd hidden the ring inside a copy of Neruda's poems, the same edition I'd given her that rainy Thursday. She cried when she found it. Real tears. Not rehearsed. Not staged. At least, I thought they were real. Yes, she said. Yes, yes, yes. Everyone told us we were moving too fast. My mom. Her friends. Even my business partner raised an eyebrow when I told him. But I didn't care. When you know, you know. Right? We got married a year later in a small ceremony by the coast. She wore a simple white dress. I wore a suit I'd bought the week before. The ocean crashed behind us, and when the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," I felt like the luckiest man alive. She whispered in my ear as we kissed. "Forever, Daniel." I believed her. I believed every word. But love, I've learned, isn't always what it pretends to be. Sometimes it's a rehearsal. A script written long before you ever walked on stage. And the worst part? You're the only one who doesn't know how it ends. Because Natalie? She always knew. She was always a brilliant actress. I just didn't realize I was her audience until it was too late. Our first year of marriage felt like a dream I didn't want to wake from. Natalie became my home. Not the house we lived in. Not the bed we shared. Her. She was the place I ran to when the world felt too loud. When deadlines crushed me. When investors pulled out and I thought everything I'd built was going to collapse. She'd pull me close, run her fingers through my hair, and whisper, "You're going to be fine. I believe in you." And I believed her. She had this habit of leaving notes in my jacket pockets. Little scraps of paper folded in half, written in her looping handwriting. Asterisk, "Don't forget you're loved." Asterisk. Asterisk, "You're doing amazing." Asterisk. Asterisk, "Come home safe." Asterisk. I'd find them in the middle of meetings. On the train. In the bathroom at work. And every time, I'd smile like an idiot. Because it meant she was thinking about me. Even when I wasn't there. She made my coffee exactly how I liked it. 2 sugars. No cream. Stirred clockwise 3 times. I never told her that. She just noticed. And every morning, without fail, there it was. Waiting for me on the kitchen counter. Still warm. She'd kiss me on the forehead and say, "Go change the world, Daniel." Like she actually believed I could. On Sunday mornings, we didn't leave the apartment. We'd stay in bed until noon, the curtains drawn, the world outside muted and far away. She'd curl up beside me with a book, something old, something worn, and read aloud. Her voice was soft. Steady. Like a lullaby. I didn't always listen to the words. I just listened to her. The way she paused between sentences. The way she laughed at certain lines. The way she'd glance at me to see if I was still paying attention. I always was. I worked long hours back then. 16-hour days. Sometimes 18. I was building my software company from the ground up, and I wanted it to succeed. Not for me. For her. I wanted to give her everything. The house with the big windows she'd always dreamed of. The gallery she talked about opening. The life she deserved. She never complained. When I came home at 2 a.m., she'd still be awake. Waiting. She'd kiss me goodnight, even when I smelled like coffee and exhaustion. "I'm proud of you," she'd say. And I'd fall asleep believing it. But looking back now, I see the cracks I missed. She never asked about my work. Not really. She never wanted to visit the office. Never asked to meet my team. Never celebrated the wins. Only the checks. When I closed a deal, she'd smile and say, "That's amazing, Daniel." But her eyes always flickered to my phone. To the bank app I'd left open on the counter. She wasn't proud of me. She was proud of what I could provide. One night, I told her I was updating my life insurance policy. We were sitting on the couch. She was reading. I was scrolling through emails. "I'm making you the sole beneficiary," I said casually. "Just in case." She looked up. And for a moment, just a moment, her expression changed. It wasn't love. It wasn't gratitude. It was something else. Something I didn't recognize. "You're so thoughtful," she whispered. She kissed my cheek. Lingered just a little too long. And I thought it was love. I thought it was intimacy. But it wasn't. It was investment. And I was the asset. There were other moments too. Small things. Things I told myself didn't matter. Like the way she'd check her phone during dinner and smile at messages she never explained. Or the way she'd put on perfume before running errands. Or the way she'd say my name sometimes, flat, distant, like it was a chore. I told myself I was being paranoid. That I was working too hard. That I was seeing problems that weren't there. But deep down, I knew. I just didn't want to admit it. Because admitting it meant admitting I'd been wrong. That the girl in the bookstore, the one who laughed in the rain and kissed me on the cheek and said I'd changed her life, wasn't real. She was a character. A role. And I was the fool who bought a front row ticket. It started small. So small I almost didn't notice. A name I didn't recognize flashing on her phone. Eric. She was in the bathroom. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I glanced at it without thinking. Eric, miss you. Can't wait for tonight. My stomach twisted. I didn't say anything. I told myself it was nothing. A friend. A colleague. Someone harmless. But the name stuck. Eric. Then came the perfume. She'd always worn the same scent. Something light. Lavender and vanilla. But one night, she came home smelling different. Darker. Muskier. New perfume? I asked. She froze for half a second. Then smiled. Just trying something new. I like the old one better. Noted, she said. But she kept wearing it. Only on certain nights. The nights she said she was meeting a friend. We started fighting. Not big, explosive arguments. Quiet ones. The kind that felt worse because they were so calm. You're never home, Daniel. I was loading the dishwasher. She was standing in the doorway, arms crossed. I'm building something, I said. For us. For us? She laughed, but it wasn't warm. I barely see you. I'm doing this for you, Natalie. I didn't ask you to. That stopped me. I turned to look at her. She wasn't angry. She wasn't sad. She was cold. I feel like a ghost in my own marriage, she said. And then she walked away. I tried harder after that. I came home earlier. Cancelled meetings. Planned date nights. I bought her flowers. Her favorite, white peonies. She smiled when I gave them to her. Thank you, Daniel. But the smile didn't reach her eyes. One night, I came home around 9 p.m. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. Natalie? No answer. I heard her voice coming from the bathroom. Low. Urgent. The door was cracked open. I shouldn't have listened. But I did. I can't do this much longer, she said. My heart stopped. I know, just a little more time, once it's done, we'll be free. We'll be free. I stood there, frozen, my pulse hammering in my ears. She was silent for a moment. Then she laughed softly. I miss you too. I knocked. She jumped. The phone clattered into the sink. Daniel, she turned, eyes wide. You're home early. Who were you talking to? My sister. The words came out too fast. She's going through a breakup. I stared at her. She stared back. And in that moment, I knew. She was lying. Is she okay? I asked quietly. She will be. She walked past me, shoulders stiff, and disappeared into the bedroom. I stood there alone in the hallway. And for the first time in our marriage, I wondered. Who did I really marry? The lie sat heavy between us. Like smoke I couldn't clear. She didn't bring it up. Neither did I. But it changed something. I started noticing things. The way she angled her phone away from me. The way she deleted texts immediately after reading them. The way she smiled at men at parties, lingering, warm, just a little too long. And the way she looked at me. Like I was an inconvenience. A problem she was waiting to solve. One night, I woke up at 3 a.m. She wasn't in bed. I found her in the living room, sitting in the dark, staring at her phone. Natalie? She jumped. Locked the screen. Couldn't sleep, she said. Come back to bed. In a minute. But she didn't. I lay there alone, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of her typing in the other room. And I realized something. I wasn't losing her. I'd already lost her. I just hadn't admitted it yet. 2 weeks before I died, I came home early. I'd been in back-to-back meetings all week. Investors. Presentations. Pitches that bled into each other until I couldn't remember what day it was. But that afternoon, I wrapped up early. I wanted to surprise Natalie. Maybe remind her why we fell in love in the first place. Maybe fix whatever was breaking between us. I opened the front door quietly. The apartment was still. Silent. No music. No TV. No sound of her moving around. For a moment, I thought she wasn't home. Then I heard her voice. Soft. Muffled. Coming from the bedroom. I walked down the hallway, my footsteps careful, instinct telling me to be quiet. The bedroom door was cracked open. Just enough. She was standing in front of the full-length mirror. At first, I thought she was getting dressed. Checking her outfit. Maybe getting ready to go out. But then I heard what she was saying. Daniel. Her voice cracked. She pressed her hand to her chest, fingers curling into the fabric of her blouse. Oh, Daniel. Her face crumpled. A tear rolled down her cheek. Perfect. Slow. Deliberate. I stood frozen. What the hell was she doing? She stopped. Wiped the tear away with the back of her hand. Took a breath. And started again. Daniel was my everything. Her lip trembled. Her voice broke in all the right places. She let her shoulders shake. Let her head drop. Then she stopped again. Straightened. An asterisk smile. Asterisk. Not a sad smile. Not a broken one. A satisfied smile. She checked her teeth in the mirror. Adjusted her hair. Tilted her head to one side, then the other. Like she was perfecting an angle. A performance. My heart was pounding so loud I thought she'd hear it. I took a step back. Then another. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream or demand answers. I just left. Quietly. Like a ghost. I sat in my car for 20 minutes. Hands gripping the steering wheel. Trying to make sense of what I'd just seen. She was rehearsing. Rehearsing grief. Rehearsing my death. Practicing how to cry. How to break. How to make it look real. The realization hit me like ice water. She wasn't preparing for my absence. She was preparing for my funeral. And she wanted to make sure she looked devastated. Believable. Sympathetic. I drove around for hours. I didn't go back to the office. I didn't call anyone. I just drove. And thought. And felt something inside me crack open. Because up until that moment, I'd held on to hope. Hope that I was wrong. That I was paranoid. That she still loved me. But standing in that hallway, watching her rehearse my death? I knew. She didn't love me. She never had. I was a role. A script. And she was just waiting for the final curtain. When I finally came home that night, she was in the kitchen. Cooking dinner. Smiling. Hey, you, she said. I didn't know you'd be home early. I stared at her. She looked so normal. Like she hadn't just been practicing how to mourn me. Everything okay? She asked, tilting her head. Yeah, I said quietly. Everything's fine. She kissed me on the cheek. And I felt nothing. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay beside her in the dark, listening to her breathe. And I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her. I wasn't going to beg or plead or ask her why. I was going to do something else. Something she'd never see coming. Because if she wanted me dead, I'd give her exactly what she wanted. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream. Didn't cry. Didn't slam doors or throw accusations. I just disappeared. Not physically. Not yet. But emotionally, I became a ghost in my own life. I went to work. Came home. Kissed her goodnight. But inside? I was already gone. The first thing I did was hire a private investigator. His name was Marcus. Mid-50s. Quiet. Professional. The kind of man who'd seen enough to not be surprised by anything. I met him in a coffee shop 2 blocks from my office. I need you to follow my wife, I said. He didn't blink. How long? As long as it takes. He nodded. Took notes. Asked a few questions. And then he got to work. It took 3 days. 3 days for Marcus to confirm what I already knew. Natalie had a lover. His name was Eric. Personal trainer. 32. Worked at an upscale gym downtown. They'd been seeing each other for 8 months. 8 months. While I was working 16-hour days to build us a future, she was building one without me. Marcus gave me photos. Natalie and Eric at a cafe. Laughing. Natalie and Eric outside a condo in Miami. Holding hands. Natalie and Eric in his car. Kissing. I stared at the photos for a long time. I didn't feel angry. I felt empty. Like someone had scooped out everything inside me and left nothing but hollow space. But Marcus didn't stop there. He dug deeper. And what he found was worse than infidelity. So much worse. Natalie had been researching life insurance policies. Specifically, mine. She'd printed out documents. Highlighted sections. Made notes in the margins. Asterisk, accidental death clause, 2x payout. Asterisk. Asterisk, how long until benefits pay out? Asterisk. Asterisk, no body required after 7 years, but can expedite with evidence. Asterisk. She'd even looked up lawyers. Estate planners. She wasn't just planning to leave me. She was planning to erase me. And collect. I found the emails. Buried in a hidden folder on her laptop. Messages between her and Eric. Asterisk Eric, how much longer? Asterisk. Asterisk Natalie, not long. I'm handling it. Asterisk. Asterisk Eric, the condo closes in 2 months. We need the money. Asterisk. Asterisk Natalie, I know. Trust me. Asterisk. Asterisk Eric, what if he finds out? Asterisk. Asterisk Natalie, he won't. He's too busy working. He doesn't even see me anymore. Asterisk. I read them all. Every single one. And with each message, the truth became clearer. She wasn't waiting for me to die. She was planning it. I don't know when I made the decision. Maybe it was reading those emails. Maybe it was seeing her rehearse her tears. Maybe it was the moment I realized I'd been nothing but a paycheck to her. But somewhere in the dark, alone in my office at 3 a.m., I decided. I would die. But on my terms. I planned it carefully. Methodically. Like a code I was writing. A problem I was solving. I researched remote highways. Riverbeds. Places where cars went missing and bodies were never found. I studied accident reports. Looked into how investigations were conducted. And then I built my exit. I staged a car accident on a stretch of highway 2 hours north of the city. Rented a car under a fake name. Drove it to a bridge overlooking a river. Late at night. No witnesses. No cameras. I sent the car over the edge. Watched it sink. Left my phone. My wallet. My wedding ring. Just enough evidence to make it believable. Just enough to declare me dead. Then I disappeared. I had a second identity prepared. A bank account Natalie didn't know about. Cash. A plan. I checked into a motel under a different name. Shaved my beard. Dyed my hair. Bought glasses. And waited. Because I didn't just want to disappear. I wanted to watch. I wanted to see her perform. I wanted to see the tears she'd practiced. The grief she'd rehearsed. I wanted to see her stand in front of a room full of people and lie. And then? I wanted to show her what a real ghost looks like. The news broke 2 days later. Asterisk, local entrepreneur Daniel Mercer presumed dead in car accident. Asterisk. I watched the coverage from my motel room. They showed a picture of me. Smiling. Young. Happy. They interviewed my business partner. He was a visionary, he said. A good man. And then they cut to Natalie. She stood outside our apartment, hands folded, eyes red. I can't believe he's gone, she whispered. The camera zoomed in. A single tear rolled down her cheek. Perfect. Practiced. Rehearsed. I turned off the TV. And smiled. The church was full. I stood at the back, half hidden by a stone pillar, and watched the crowd filter in. Colleagues I hadn't spoken to in years. Friends from college. Distant relatives. People who barely knew me but showed up because that's what you do when someone dies. The organ played something low and mournful. The air smelled like lilies and wood polish. And at the front of the church, beside a closed casket draped in white roses, stood Natalie. She looked devastated. Black lace dress. Hair pulled back. No makeup except for the faint shimmer of tears on her cheeks. Her hands trembled as she held a crumpled tissue. She looked small. Fragile. Broken. If I didn't know better, I would have believed her. Hell, I almost believed her. I disguised myself carefully. Fake beard. Thick glasses. A slight limp I'd practiced in the mirror. I wore a black coat, kept my head down, and blended into the background. No one looked twice. Why would they? I was dead. The service began. A priest I'd never met stood at the podium and talked about my life. About my work. My generosity. My love for my wife. He said I was a man who gave everything to those he loved. I almost laughed. Then Natalie stood. The room went silent. She walked slowly to the podium, tissue clutched in one hand, the other gripping the edge of the wood like she might fall. She looked out at the crowd. Her voice, when she spoke, was barely a whisper. Daniel was everything to me. The words cracked. She paused. Took a breath. He was my best friend. My partner. My soulmate. A sob broke through. She covered her mouth. Turned away for a moment. The crowd murmured. Someone in the front row, her mother, I think, reached out to touch her hand. Natalie shook her head. Steadied herself. And continued. He gave me everything, she said. His love. His trust. His heart. She looked down at the tissue in her hand. I don't know how to live in a world without him. Her voice broke. A tear slid down her cheek. Then another. I watched from the back. And I felt nothing. Because I'd seen this before. I'd seen her practice this exact moment. The trembling hands. The cracked voice. The perfectly timed tears. This wasn't grief. It was a performance. And she was nailing it. Then I saw him. Eric. He slipped into a pew near the back, 3 rows ahead of me. He didn't cry. He didn't bow his head. He checked his watch. Natalie saw him. Just for a second, her eyes flickered in his direction. And she smiled. Not a big smile. Not obvious. Just a slight lift at the corner of her mouth. A flicker of something warm. Satisfied. Then it was gone. She turned back to the crowd, dabbed her eyes, and stepped down from the podium. The service continued. More people spoke. Shared memories. Said kind things. I didn't hear any of it. I was watching Natalie. The way she leaned into her mother's shoulder. The way she accepted condolences with quiet grace. The way she glanced at Eric again when no one was looking. And I knew. This wasn't grief. It was a closing act. The final scene of a play I'd never agreed to star in. When the service ended, people filed out slowly. I stayed in the back. Watched Natalie walk down the aisle, arm in arm with her mother, head bowed. She passed within 5 feet of me. I held my breath. She didn't look up. Outside, the sky was gray. A light rain had started to fall. People gathered under black umbrellas, talking in low voices. Natalie stood by the hearse, shaking hands, accepting hugs. Eric hung back. Watching. Waiting. I stood under a tree, 20 feet away. And I thought about what came next. Because this wasn't over. Not yet. Intermission was ending. And the final act? That was mine. The reception was held in the church hall. Long tables covered in white cloth. Trays of food no one was eating. Soft music playing from a speaker in the corner. People stood in clusters, talking quietly, glancing at Natalie with sympathy. She moved through the room like a widow in a painting. Graceful. Tragic. Perfect. She accepted condolences with a soft voice and trembling hands. She dabbed her eyes at all the right moments. And every few minutes, she glanced toward the door. Waiting. I watched from the far side of the room. Still disguised. Still invisible. Eric had slipped in through a side entrance. He stood near the back, pretending to look at his phone. But I saw the way his eyes tracked her. The way he checked his watch. The way he smiled when she looked his way. I waited until she was alone. She stood by the buffet table, pouring herself a glass of water, her back to the room. I walked up slowly. Quiet. She didn't notice me at first. I'm so sorry for your loss, I said. My voice was low. Rough. Unfamiliar. She turned. Her eyes were red. Her smile was soft. Practiced. Thank you, she whispered. He was everything. I nodded. Stepped closer. Was he? Her smile flickered. Confusion crossed her face. I'm sorry? I took off my glasses. Slowly. Her eyes widened. The color drained from her face. Hello, Natalie. She didn't scream. She didn't move. She just stared. Her mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. No sound came out. Surprised? I asked softly. Her hand shot out, gripping my arm. Nails digging in. Daniel, her voice was barely a whisper. You're Dead? I finished. Yeah. I heard. Her breath came faster. Panic flickered across her face. She glanced around the room, but no one was watching. You don't understand, she said, voice shaking. This isn't, I didn't. Didn't what? I leaned in closer. Didn't plan it? Didn't rehearse your tears? Didn't spend 8 months fucking Eric while researching how to cash in on my life insurance? She froze. I understand everything, I said quietly. The emails. The condo in Miami. The accidental death clause. All of it. Tears filled her eyes. Real ones this time. Please. Save it, I said. I reached into my coat pocket, pulled out an envelope, and handed it to her. She stared at it like it might explode. What is this? Open it. Her hands shook as she pulled out the papers inside. Divorce papers. Screenshots of her messages with Eric. Printed emails. Bank statements. A flash drive. Everything. Her face went white. You wanted me gone, Natalie, I said. Congratulations. I'm dead to you now. Legally. Financially. Emotionally. A sob broke from her throat. Daniel, please, I can explain. No, I said. You can't. I took a step back. You rehearsed this, remember? You practiced how to cry. How to break. How to make everyone believe you loved me. Tears streamed down her face now. But I felt nothing. The performance is over, I said. I turned. And walked away. She didn't follow. She just stood there. Frozen. The envelope clutched in her shaking hands. People were starting to notice. Whispers rippled through the room. I didn't look back. I walked out the side door. Into the rain. And disappeared. I didn't stay for the rest. I walked out of that church, out of that life, and into something new. I didn't look back. Not once. I changed my name. Moved to a small town 3 states away. Rented a cabin by a lake. Quiet. Isolated. Mine. I started over. Built a new company under a new identity. Worked remotely. Kept my head down. No one knew me as the man who died and came back. And I liked it that way. Natalie? She lost everything. The investigation I'd triggered, anonymous tips, emails sent to the right people, unraveled her lies. No insurance payout. No inheritance. The house? Seized. Eric? Gone the moment the money disappeared. She tried to reach me. Emails. Phone calls. Letters sent to my old office. Daniel, please. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Please. I never replied. Because some people don't deserve closure. They deserve exactly what they gave. Nothing. I don't think about her much anymore. But sometimes, on rainy Thursdays, I sit by the window and watch the storm roll in. And I remember the girl in the bookstore. The one who laughed in the rain. The one who kissed me on the cheek and said I'd changed her life. I wonder if she was ever real. Or if she was always just a character. A role. A rehearsal for something darker. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not sad. I'm just free. Free from the lies. Free from the performance. Free from the woman who tried to bury me. Because sometimes, you have to die to finally live. And I'm living now. Really living. Not for her. Not for anyone. Just for me. And if Natalie ever thinks about me, wonders where I went, how I survived, if I'm watching, I hope she remembers one thing. Ghosts don't forget. And neither do I.